You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Be warned that once you pick up a refreshingly cold drink from McDonald's and people see just how refreshingly cold that drink from McDonald's is, you may create drink envy. Because there are drinks, then there are drinks from McDonald's.
For a morning brew that really creates a stir, get any size iced coffee, including caramel and French vanilla, for just 99 cents before 11 a.m. Price and participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
What's the matter with you?
What?
You come in here today,
Yeah.
and with everything going on in the world, you say to me, I still got my all-time Big East team, if you want it.
Never got to it yesterday.
Yeah, a lot of stuff to talk about. and you say to me, you just say to me with a giant smile on your face, because no one is pleased more by your jokes than you are.
Of course.
Larry Gura is what you say to me. It is a good name. It's a good name comedically to throw at the audience from 80s Royals baseball.
I was listing 80s Royals baseball players yesterday, and it was a flurry, and it was good. And I got all the names I wanted to get in.
You lose Lucy and all of our young people. Even Jeremy dorks out on all baseball things. He doesn't know who Larry Gura is.
Larry Gura is a classic number 2, number 3 starter for the Royals in the 80s. That guy, he might have a 4.5 ERA, but he'd still get you 15 wins. That's who he is, Larry Gura.
Do you want to do, Billy, 90s Blue Jays? Because I really felt like we left a whole lot of stuff on the table yesterday talking about 90s Blue Jays.
I don't want to force it. If we get to 90s Blue Jays, we get to it, you know.
Once he said Lloyd Mosby, though, like Lloyd Mosby got me because you didn't end the game because we could. I mean, Kelly Gruber's pretty good. Like we could go.
Not bad, Rance Mulliniks.
Yeah.
There's something about this particular.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
This particular game, though, I don't need to know the name. If Stugotz is in his groove and he's playing it right, if it's just a funny sounding name, it hits for me.
It not the same for young people, though. There's something happening here generationally. You do realize that you and Billy and Mike, you're the Danettes now, right? You're adult human beings. You're not children anymore laughing at all the same silly stuff. Lucy's got no time. The funny names don't do anything for her.
You guys could be making up every single one of these names. I would have no idea. And I'm okay with that.
I don't know a lot of the names that they were saying. I want to be a good ally here, but I don't know who you're talking
I know how to bring this to Lucy. Lucy, just start naming Iowa receivers from like 10 years ago.
Oh, God, they weren't very good.
Come on, it's not fun for you. Like
Cavante Martin Manley.
Ah,
Marvin McNutt.
Those are
Daryl Johnson Culianos.
It's fun, right? Lucy? It's fun. I just realized that Billy's been faking his way through this game since the beginning. I thought this was the wheelhouse we all had was like, 90s Blue Jays.
Not like 92. I mean, I don't want to spoiler alert. You guys are older than me, so like I have like 20 years on me here.
But you've been faking your way through the most popular game on
the names I know, like Crime Dog, Fred McGriff, John Ollery. Like I know these names, you know.
Those are good.
Yeah,
those are great.
You don't feel strong in this
Matt
category.
Vandenberg.
It's a fun game.
That's how you
Lucy.
play the game right there.
He's married to Laura.
Lucy.
Wow.
Lucy. This has been for a long time here and everywhere throughout the world the great connector of men. Just being able to name random athletes from 30 and 40 years ago. If you want to play this game with us, you would be the historic first woman to correctly play this game with us.
My brother's roommate, Greg. Greg's on the football team. Shout out, Greg.
Wow.
He needs a last name,
shout out
though.
Greg.
I don't know Greg's last name.
Greg.
Like I don't know who Ozzie Virgil is.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's a great one.
That is a good one. But did he play for the Blue Jays?
Yeah, he was a DH 1990.
Braves too, though. I think.
I thought he was a White Sox.
Huh? Interesting. Larry Gura once had 18 wins with a 4.2 ERA. I mean, that's who he is.
Go check out how Rick Helling one time had 20 wins with an ERA over 5.
That name I know.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Today's episode is sponsored by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
I remember, Stugotz, a long time ago at ESPN talking to somebody who was affiliated with one of my very early radio shows that I did Sunday mornings, very early.
I love that show.
7 a.m.
Yeah.
Lonely show. Nobody wants that time slot, but I wanted it because it was on like 500 stations because nobody else wanted to broadcast it that hour on a Sunday.
Many years later, I took that slot over with Mike Golick Jr. I mean, how about that? Passing of the torch.
It's a slot with a lot of reach, and when I was doing it in the morning at that time, I remember feeling very lonely talking to this person affiliated with the show, and you guys are going to recognize some of this because I was arguing so much with this person off air about how baseball was better than football, how much I enjoyed baseball more than football. He was ahead of the curve. This was before football was even as popular as what it is now. It was something different then. Right around then, I think American Gladiators was doing a better number on television than football was, not too much longer after that. He also had a gambling problem. I lent him way too much money. And football will feed the attention of baseball was too slow, and that's something that happened to football with fantasy leagues and everything else. It exploded into I only have to invest my one Sunday, 16 weeks, I can handle that, and then football exploded. But the reason I tell you this story is because recently, I've been watching Rays baseball all of last year. I really do love what baseball has become. They fixed a lot of the problems. I still don't care about the All-Star Game. However, having seen baseball go from the medicine of steroids to chicks love the long ball and home runs are all that matter. Paul Skeens, thank you for making me fall in love again with the power arm. The Dwight Gooden, the one guy nobody can hit. These are so rare. Now, keep in mind, pitching is totally unnatural for the human body. All of them are going to break. Skeens will break too, and it'll be unfortunate. But for now,
everyone except Nolan Ryan. I mean,
that's correct.
Yes,
Billy, thank you, Stugotz, for bringing it back to that.
You're welcome.
I want to get you to Nolan Ryan.
I want to get to Nolan Ryan after seeing him walk out to the mound yesterday. I was chomping at the bits, champing at the bits. We've done this before. I don't remember what the answer was. I was ready for him. I was ready for the Ryan Express last night. When I saw him out there, I was actually screen recording my TV, my screen. I don't know how the kids do it these days, so I was just holding up my phone with video recording, and I was going to send it to you, and I was going to tell you, I was waiting for him because I saw him a little slow, the Ryan Express, walking out to the mound. So I was waiting to see that pitch, and then I didn't get it because they gave it to Adrian Beltre to throw out that first pitch. But I was so ready to send you a video to tell you I can foul tip this because that was the challenge.
You know what? He can do that.
Thank you.
He can do anything that he sets his mind to. He's such an incredible athlete that nothing could stop Billy Gill. Nothing. Nothing. Even if it's something from 16 years ago that he was a Division I athlete on.
When are we going, I say this in the most loving way possible to whoever is responsible for this, when are we going to fix that microphone for you so that it stops jostling when you have to touch it, that one middle microphone?
I fixed it.
Okay.
Well, he just has to sit down like a normal human being, but he wants to do this McAfee thing where he's standing the whole show to show off his traps or whatever his goal is here.
We've been standing on this show for longer than that
way
McAfee
before.
show.
Come on.
Yeah.
You guys did standing first?
Oh, yeah. I've been standing. I've been standing in the back row of this show for like 9 years.
I stood in the corner at the Clevelander. There was literally no chair. I had to stand.
So that's how you learned how to do this.
I was like, I can just stand the entire time.
You used to not have a microphone.
Well, Tony,
I just supported you, man.
I'm afraid to say that Billy is not supportive. Tony was.
How dare you, sir?
You're not supportive of Tony. You said yesterday. What do you mean, how dare you? You said yesterday, if someone tells me not to come to something, I'm not coming.
Because I'm a team player. I was asked not to participate, so I said, you know what? I won't participate.
Billy is not supporting the Tony Show. The Tony Show is tomorrow?
Today,
the Tony
7
Show.
p.m.
That's a fine.
7 p.m. today, tonight, presented by DraftKings, Dano.
What is it?
What do you mean, what is it?
It needs a new name.
What is that supposed to mean?
I mean,
It's just Tony showing
It's the
up.
Tony Show. It's perfect.
They're watching Back to the Future
It's
too.
perfect. We're not watching Back to the Future 2.
Oh,
This one
just
is
cosplaying?
No, this one is Back to the Future 2 themed as far as the movie poster or whatever, because we're going back to the future. We're going to be playing retro PS2 games from back in the day that we used to play as kids. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to be doing a lightning best ball draft presented by DraftKings, which is going to be exciting. There's a lot of stuff to do on the Tony Show, but that's why it's the perfect name, because we don't know what's going to happen until we actually do it.
Stugotz, I've been a little frustrated because of how slowly we move as a company. Adam McKay does want to do something with Tony and Juju. This is not it.
It's not the Tony Show?
It is. No, this is not it, which isn't to say that this won't work. Tony's trying to, I don't know, how do you make bones in a business? Why is that an expression?
I think it's calcium. You drink milk.
The making of, you make your bones in a business. Tony's trying to make his bones in this business. And before he gets to Adam McKay, he's got to create the Tony Show pilot that, soars into the sky and becomes something else later on. But what's it going to be, Tony? Because I remember the first time you did the Tony Show, it was just going to be sort of like the Truman Show, Jim Carrey, we're going to watch you sleep. And I'm like, you have to entertain the people. You need to do something for them.
And entertain we did.
You did.
27 hours. We entertained everybody.
People loved it.
People loved it. People watched us sleep. It was an incredible show. This one is the grown-up version. This is step 2 of the Tony Show. We're going to be doing something different with different people, with different devices. It's very exciting.
Making one's bones originated in organized crime. It's from The Godfather. It's basically the amount of people you kill. The more people you killed, the higher you went up in the family. You know?
So, yes, I understand what the making of bones is. I just don't understand the origin of why it is we're using bones to is it because they're killing
climb
people?
in the company.
Yeah. So the more people you
Your
kill,
body's
the
made
more,
of bones.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's not making your bodies in the business. It's the number of people you end so that all that's left of them is bones.
Essentially.
It's like your body count with hooking up.
Yeah.
Whoa. Isn't that what the kids say these days? What's your body count?
You said that a little aggressively. Are you feeling
I'm
yourself
cool.
after
I'm
this
young.
sex
I'm hip.
advice person that was on with us? Are you feeling
That
yourself?
interview made me uncomfortable. Just me personally. Like, it was a good interview, but I just didn't love, because everyone's like asking for a friend, and I was the friend.
I have learned, Stugotz, something about Lucy and Jessica's friendship that delights me, because both of them have found Miami, as it is, not as warm as the temperature when you're talking about the people. The people are different.
The people are the people. I mean,
thank you, Stugotz,
You got
for
it.
offering nothing but
Miami
noise.
is Miami. I mean,
He is right about that.
Yes, he is right. It's indisputable. The people are the people. But Lucy and Jessica have found Miami's people to be less than warm. So I was delighted to hear that Jessica has found a reliable person that she trusts to take care of Willow when she's out of town. Unfortunately, that person is Lucy, who cannot manage this situation at all. She's having a great deal of trouble with a disrespectful, spoiled, and entitled Willow.
Do not speak about her that way. That is my best friend you're talking about.
Willow or Lucy?
I mean, it's tough because
She's Lucy.
She's Lucy. You
Lucy
confuse
normally
Lucy and
rents a
Joy.
dog
Chris,
for a
Jessica,
day.
go
Yes.
sit in the penalty
Here we
box
go.
for 2
Yeah,
minutes.
I
Go
mean-
sit in the penalty box for 2 minutes.
Yeah, you said Lucy.
You said
instead
Lucy.
of Jessica.
Get out of here.
I just want someone to remember my name.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just saying that she normally rents a dog for a day. It's different when you have to have that thing over your house 24/7.
This is how I feel
it's
about
a new responsibility.
children.
Right?
This is exactly what people are surprised that I'm good with children. I'm like, I love renting them. It's the ownership part that's a problem
Dan,
for me in terms
can
of responsibility.
I love you. Don't have kids. Please. Please. It's a lot. Don't.
Be content with being a godfather.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Collect your bones as the Godfather. And
I've collected so many bones. I am godfather to so many people. You guys were mentioning the mafia. This is how my friends extort me because they know I have money. Hey Dan, you want to be the godfather?
The Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is sponsored by BetterHelp. The impact of social media on mental health is a topic of growing concern. What do you do when you get caught up wishing your life looked like someone else's? Comparison is the thief of joy, and it's easy to envy other people's lives. It might look like they have it all together on their social media, but in reality, they probably don't. Therapy can help you focus on what you want instead of what others have, so you can start living your best life. It's helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. It isn't just for those who have experienced major trauma. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Stop comparing and start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/DLB today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp. HELP.com/DLB.
Dan Le Batard.
Did you guys see Gilbert Arenas' assessment of Zion Williamson?
Agent Zero.
Stugotz.
Did you answer my question there or no?
No.
Okay, very good.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Even though you're officially not, I tell Rachel and Emma all the time, you are their godfather. They're waiting for a check. I mean, anything. Venmo, something. Let's
Funny.
go.
So Lucy's got no control of the situation.
Okay, you're exaggerating. Willow is...
Lucy, I'm not exaggerating. You told me she dragged you. Lucy?
You are not there.
Lucy, you told me she dragged you to an ice cream store and you couldn't get her to stop. You
That has
told me
happened
that.
several times, and it's super cute, though. So here is the situation with Willow. She is a great dog. She really is, and I wouldn't lie about that because I'm honest. Like my dog, Kinnick, at my dad's house, not a great dog. Love him. He bit my grandma, so not the best dog. That's okay. She's cool. He's cool. I'm still a big fan. But Willow, great dog. She's very well behaved, but she can tell that I am like not an alpha. Like she can tell that I'm not.
Oh, she can
doesn't
see through you.
She doesn't respect me, and
I thought I said that.
I think you did it in a way that was disrespectful to Willow, and it should have been disrespectful to me.
Yeah, you should have been more demeaning toward Lucy.
You should have, because I'm not an alpha, and Willow doesn't respect me, and she shouldn't respect me. And so she thinks she can get away with a lot of stuff, and most of it is just every time we go for a walk, she's super excited. She'll get on her little, she's prancing. I'm like, yeah, she's got all this energy. That's great. And then she immediately takes me to this ice cream shop and just parks it. We'll just sit there. It's 105 degrees outside, and I am using all my strength to pull Willow to get her to move because she will not leave this ice cream shop. And most of the time, we go for our walks early in the morning. So it's 7 a.m., and she is just stuck outside this ice cream shop. And people walk by, and it's kind of embarrassing because I'm having to drag her. And they're like, haha, looks like somebody doesn't want to leave. And I'm like, she just wants the ice cream. She just wants it. And she's good. I bought it for her.
Of course. Well, that's why she does it, and that's why she doesn't respect you.
And I'll do it again.
Yes, and that's why you will never have control of this dog, and the pup cup is clearly an addiction.
There's always that guy out there that when that happens, the dog is walking you, he says or she says, who's walking who? Right? It happens all the time.
That's
I say it all the time.
times.
Yeah.
It's like the funny dad joke, but it's usually 100 degrees out, and I just want to go inside, and I feel like I'm going to pass out, so they'll hit me with, who's walking who? And I'm like, shut up!
Yeah. It's one of the great illusions, dog ownership, that you own them and you're not in their service. But my dog has never picked up my shit.
That's a good point.
Do you shit on the street?
That'd be weird, yeah.
Yes.
Sidewalk?
Yes, it would be weird. Which part? The shitting on the street or the dog picking it up?
All of it.
Yeah. It would be weird. That's good commentary.
I don't think dogs could tie the baggies, Dan. I think that's part of the problem.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's hard because they have that thumb thing, but it's halfway up their arm for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Why do they have that there?
I thought it was an elbow.
Really? Huh.
You know what's funny about this? I just had this conversation, okay?
Dog thumbs in the middle of their forearm? Because, what a coincidence.
No, but elbows, what do you call somebody? An elbow? Do you call it an elbow or a knee? When a warthog has, this is funny. So, because the animal is being preyed on in the animal kingdom, over time, the survival evolution of the animal makes it so its head and shoulders and neck are super thick to not get bitten in an exposed area. And the warthog has to eat. It sort of puts down its feet so that it is eating on what you would call either its elbows or its knees. But is it the elbows? Because the warthog's not walking on two legs. Those are all legs, so they all have to be knees, correct?
This is the classic, would a dog wear jeans the 4-leg way or the 2-leg way.
Yeah.
The classic?
It's a classic.
It's a classic.
If a
Yeah.
dog
It
would wear
is.
jeans,
It
how
is.
would it wear the jeans? On the
debating
hot legs or on the
years.
4 front legs?
Since the dawn of mankind.
Tonight on the Tony Show, presented by DraftKings.
The dawn of dog kind, Stugotz.
That's a fun.
Yeah,
You're
people
right.
are people.
You've never thought about it, Dan?
Yeah.
How a dog would wear pants?
I have not, because a dog would clearly have to shorten the pants to walk the way a dog always has. A dog walking on.
Thank you. Diagram on the screen right now. Would it wear him like on all fours, or would it wear it like hind, with the butt sticking out with the little tail?
Don't go through all your material for tonight now.
I feel like people put pants on their dogs, though. Like, it's a thing that, like, when you have those, like, little floofy dogs, people like to dress them up. One time, my dog would not stop peeing everywhere, so we put a diaper on, which I feel like is kind of like pants. And it was not.
I do with my kid.
Yeah, it wasn't the bottom. So I feel like the pants have to go on the back, right?
You would think.
Well,
I
we've
think
never
so.
asked dogs, so we don't know which they prefer.
We know they don't like shoes.
This is one of
Honestly,
your
like-
rental dogs, though, right? Like,
No, this was my actual dog. It was my little dog. Her name was Happy, and she was the meanest dog ever.
What's going on with your rental dogs? What's
What?
the latest with this good work you've
got a
been
permanent one right
you've
now.
been doing?
I haven't been doing it much lately. Not because I'm a bad person, but because I'm busy. The Miami shelter was overflowing a few weeks ago, so they were actually really, really desperate for people to come take dogs out. Ideally, adopt the dogs. It's really hot outside. People are dumping their dogs left and right, which is really, really messed up. And if you do that and you're a bad person, I'm going to find you and I'm going to make you feel really bad about it. But you can still go do the Rent a Dog, which is not the name of the program, but go do a paw venture where you get to take a dog out for a day. It's a free thing to do. It's a super awesome program. There's very little you need to do to sign up, which is a little scary, but honestly, it's no barrier to entry. That's exactly what we want. So you just go to their website, search up Miami-Dade Shelter Paw Venture, then you type in your little name and you say, I'll pick this dog up at this time, then, and then you go and they give you a cute little binder and you scroll through and you get to pick whatever dog you want to take out.
I would agree with you, and I am somebody who rescued a dog who was so wild that it was like having a wild horse in the home for a very long time, because what has happened in South Florida, and there are a lot of dogs just that people can't afford anymore, and they just dump them either in the Everglades or the Redlands area, and so those dogs live essentially like wild dogs until someone picks them up or they die of starvation because they can't make it in the wild. And it got me to thinking, Stugotz, about what the video that we just saw here locally, what desperation will look like when you don't have the money to afford a dog and you have to do something that's that kind of cruel. When forgive me for the wandering on this, but Copa America, one of the things that I noticed in the chaos of what that experience was, Stugotz, is that the ticket prices weren't in any way affordable, okay? So the least expensive ticket to get in was $2,100, okay?
Crazy.
The average price is $4,000 to that game. So there were 27 arrests made, and there were 7,000 extra people inside the stadium, because it's a giant, giant thing. And the passion around soccer, I mean, I know we have it with football, but I don't really think that America understands how the rest of the world links up for its identity with its country's soccer team. So when desperate people can't afford things, they might overrun security. Now, I'm not obviously exonerating anybody for this kind of lunacy. You should pay. But when we're living in America where you see that the Republican Party is actively trying to just change all the rules, don't like them, so I'm just going to change them all. These laws don't apply to me. I'm not going to prison, immunity. So that the party of money can continue to empower money and create a situation where we have even more desperation than we have now. And it's not as cute as a soccer game. Now it's for food or for water or for money. What's it going to look like when it's not as cute as a soccer game and what you actually have is the manifestation of the prophecy of fear that they're promising you, which is the desperate brown and black people are going to take all of your shit and we need to build a wall, go get your guns.
But also, some people are just bad dog owners.
Yeah.
Like, it's not money. They just don't realize it's a lot of responsibility, so they just dump their dogs.
I don't think they get dropped in the Everglades either. I haven't seen too many Malteses.
Well, if they do, they probably get eaten by pythons. So I would
Pythons
say
for sure get dropped off in the Everglades.
That's
I've
true.
seen that.
And turtles.
So,
people don't realize how long turtles live and how big turtles get. Turtles are a pain in the ass.
Goldfish, too. They get huge in the wild.
Those you just flush down the toilet.
A lot of homeless dogs in Hialeah. I mean, that's where I got Finney. There were a ton of homeless dogs. I'm serious.
No, he's
They're
right
just
about
roaming around Hialeah. I mean, that's where I got Finney
You're just
from.
walking around Hialeah picking up dogs?
I'm just telling you, there's someone who does this for a living that I know, and that's where I adopted Finney from, and they had a bunch of dogs from Hialeah. That's all I'm saying. Not the Everglades.
Do you guys follow that guy on TikTok who goes into the Everglades and then he goes in with his bare feet? He never wears
Fishing
shoes.
Garrett.
And
Yeah.
and then he just picks up
He's
snakes
incredible.
and goes yoink. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. This guy lives life on the edge.
To answer your question, Dan, the thought of that, the look of that, it's going to be hard for people to watch. It's going to be tough. It's going to be difficult. But I understand the desperation when you need to feed yourself and feed your family. Okay? If you can't afford a ticket to a soccer game, you don't need to go to such extreme measures to try to get yourself into a soccer game. Food, I understand. Water, I understand. Money, I understand. A soccer game? Come on.
Totally true. I'm just giving you the example of when you really care about something and you want it and you can't afford it.
Yeah.
You haven't been desperate about money in a long time,
I know.
and it doesn't make you want it all the more. What happens when it's a fight over the stuff that makes us all allowed to live? It's what's going to happen with closed borders. You don't want people from other countries in here because you have the stuff. You have the stuff and you don't want to share it. What do you think it's going to look like? It's what's being fomented this week, Stugotz, at this carnival of lunacy that is passing for some sort of sanity. As again, I tell you, they're trying to change all the rules of democracy so that they don't apply to the people who are there. And Rudy Giuliani can fall down all the time until he dies instead of just gets old, taking stuff from people so he can have it. And other people who don't look like him can't. Like, that's what we're doing. It's the present exercise. This is where we've gotten. And it's the desperate people are now also in the unhappy, angry, poor, and white side, blaming Biden for it. Blaming and it's not Biden, it's that rich companies have bought all of these people. They're all bought, all of them. Every one of them is bought. They're so interested in power. And so, of course, you're right that they shouldn't do that for a soccer game, but it's not just soccer tickets that are unaffordable. A cup of coffee is not affordable anymore. You can't buy a home in this city. Like, nobody can buy property in the city anymore unless you're hugely rich, not even in what you're saying, Hialeah, which I keep saying to people, I can't believe it's the 5th least affordable housing market in the United States. My father grew up there. That's just factories and mud. That's not Miami. That's something that pretends to be Miami and at its core has the most Hispanic poverty stuff that you will find anywhere in Miami, including dogs roaming around in the street like Finney. How did you get Finney in Hialeah? I don't believe that.
I went to a place in Plantation that, they find homeless dogs, and I adopted Finnegan.
I'm skeptical about that. Sounds like you went to a place that steals dogs.
That's where I live.
That's not what I did. They do a very nice thing. They give the dogs a home until an owner comes in and picks the dog. I mean,
You ever think about how crazy it is that we have a town down here just called Plantation, and we have no issue with it?
First time I said that to Dominique, he's like, "Where do you live?" I'm like, "In Plantation." And he looked at me, and I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, I just tell people Fort Lauderdale.
It's still the Masters.
I think it's time to change that. I'm going to start a petition.
Does Finney ever react like if someone says Rufus or something and you're like, why does he respond to that name? And it's because Finney was dog napped.
No. Not that I can recall, at least. But
okay.
I do the same thing, by the way. Even up in Parkland, I say I'm from Fort Lauderdale. It's weird. I don't know why.
Well, but they're doing it for a different reason.
I understand why they're doing it. I'm just saying, I live in Parkland. I still say Fort Lauderdale.
That's because you can't help yourself from lying at every point when you don't need to.
People don't know where Parkland is. They don't know Coral Springs. They know Fort Lauderdale.
If I'm speaking to someone from Florida, then I might tell them Parkland if I were you. But if I'm speaking to someone who's not from Florida, it's Fort Lauderdale. And if I'm speaking to someone where I'm not sure that they're even going to know Fort Lauderdale, then I'm just from Miami.
Thank you.
That's a
You're
tell.
welcome.
If someone says I'm from South Florida, you know they're from Broward.
Yeah, that's true.
Not you just say Miami.
You're exactly right.
That is true, isn't it?
We want people to think it's Miami.
You want the association.
I think Boca, too. Like, if you're up there, you'll say South Florida, too.
Yeah.
If you say Boca, I assume you're 80.
Or Jewish.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. If someone says they're from Boca, do you assume they're 80? Do you guys know what Boca Raton means? Any of you in the room who aren't Hispanic?
Oh. Well, I'm Hispanic, so I'm not going to answer the question.
But you do know? You do know?
Yeah, rat's mouth, right?
Yeah.
You've ruined the
Hispanic.
game.
Spoiler
You ruined the whole game.
Well, you guys
wanted to
bully me
flex
for being white.
so bad.
I know something in Spanish, guys. I'm Cuban.
Boy.
I know, there's so many jokes, though.
All right, everybody, it's finally here. Best Ball Week at DraftKings, my favorite time of the year. And DraftKings Best Ball Millionaire Contest is the biggest fantasy contest ever at DraftKings. A $15 million guaranteed prize pool with 2 millionaires being crowned. DraftKings is offering everyone a Draft One, Get One special. Your $20 entry fee scores you a bonus ticket. It's Best Ball Week here at DraftKings, and download the DraftKings app and use code DAN. That's code DAN, D-A-N, for all customers who enter the NFL Best Ball $15 million millionaire contest to get a bonus ticket and get a shot at being crowned one of the 2 millionaires, only at DraftKings.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. 18 and over in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. One per customer. Enter the Best Ball $15 million contest by 9/5/24 to get one bonus entry. $20 entry fee required. Reward expires at contest lock on 9/5/24. See terms at DraftKings.com/DFS.
Dan Le Batard.
We love you. We've got you. We've all got each other. Let's go right now.
Stugotz.
1, 2, 3, Brett. 1, 2, 3, Brett.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
David Sampson of Nothing Personal is going to join us here in a little while, but there appear to be a couple of things that people think are factually incorrect about what it is that we're talking about. One of the things that you guys said is that dogs don't get dropped off in the Everglades because, as Tony said, a Maltese isn't going to be dropped off in the Everglades. But if you don't care about an animal enough to dump it off in the Redlands because it will probably die, you're not going a whole lot further to just dump it in a swamp because you don't want the responsibility or the cost any more in your life. I am always guilty around here, Stugotz. The audience gets very upset with me because I think Miami and South Florida have an assortment of things that the rest of the United States does not have, things that are unique to Miami. Right before I left, I was telling all of the room, I don't believe a lot of places in the country have what we do at 11 and at Space, the clubs that stay up all night. And you guys gave me a number of cities that do have all-night things. And I assure you, those cities aren't filled with thousands of people doing that all night on drugs. That's only happening here and Vegas, and I don't think anywhere else in the United States where you gave me some shitty cities there that stay up all night or have certain places.
How dare you call Minneapolis a shitty city, Dan?
It's just absolutely not something that's happening over the United States where you've got all over thousands of people at 6 a.m. spilling out of a club on drugs.
New Orleans.
Yes, that's a good one.
New York, yeah.
I don't know if
Definitely, I've done it.
I don't know if New
My
Orleans has a lot of. Does New Orleans stay up all night with a place that's got thousands of people in it? I guess Bourbon Street would be that. Regardless, we do have something in the Everglades that I don't believe happens anywhere in the United States, which is we have a snake problem. It's a giant snake problem, so much that there are hunters who go out there and get paid for just eliminating some of the snakes that should not be in the Everglades. And Lucy, what is this video that we're watching now that you provided because you just learned about this the other day?
So this is Fishing Garrett. I talked about him a little bit in the last segment. He is based here, I believe, somewhere in South Florida, but I don't know what South Florida means after all you guys just said. So whatever, in this general vicinity. And his whole thing is that he is trying to find a 20-foot python. So this crazy ass guy just goes in the Everglades barefoot all the time looking for these pythons, and then will just stick his hand into the water, pick up the snake and go yoink. So if there's a way that we could play this with the sound, because he'll tell you what animals are there, and you'll hear him yoink.
Well, why don't we just get him as a guest to talk about some of this stuff? Because South Florida has a number of these unusual people. I met one of them who has to, is it Burmese pythons, has to kill them and just puts a bullet in their head.
Yeah. They actually sell licenses where you can go out and get a license and go kill these pythons because they're so invasive. They kill all the other animals. Like, there's a lot of small rodents. I think Ron has talked about it. Small rodents, even up to things like mid-size that the pythons just kill because there's so many of them.
I feel like that's taking the easy path, just putting a bullet in its head. I mean, come on, catch the snake. I mean, you're a snake catcher. Don't bring a gun. I mean, the snake doesn't have a gun. Seriously, it's cheating.
Stugotz, you called 911 on a fraud.
I did, but I'm not. Listen, I don't do this for a living.
I know, but you can't.
I'm not catching frogs for a living.
You can't be the Monday morning quarterback on how to kill a snake when you called 911 on a fraud.
But I'm seeing all these snake hunters going into the Everglades, and they're doing it with their hands. This guy's bringing a gun. It's cheating. I'd be upset.
The woman also catches them with her hands and puts a bullet in their head.
After she catches them.
Yes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You don't just walk up to a snake with a gun and shoot it. I mean,
you call 911 so the cops can come and shoot it.
It's cheating.
Billy, I don't want this to be another thing that we talk about and don't do, okay? Because I was told upon return from Edmonton that we had a number of different ways and angles to get a billboard in Edmonton. We thought, Amin said, I've got contacts. You guys are amateurs. Edmonton shut us down from every angle. We put up a couple of billboards in South Florida that had no impact whatsoever. And I was told we were very close. We almost executed the joke of me seeing a billboard in Johannesburg on my way from the airport because Meadowlark put one there just for me. Just for me to see in the airport. I was told we were very close to executing that joke, but didn't execute that one either.
What if you were looking the other way and didn't see it?
I think they would have probably had to get my wife involved. There probably would have been some sort of. I wouldn't.
You're like, oh, look at this
little inside job.
Yeah, I think the practical joke would have involved some more planning, but maybe not with the way Meadowlark does it. Maybe Meadowlark thinks that all of the acreage I would have just had to be focused, and I'd be like, why is there a Connor McDavid billboard in Johannesburg?
He'll see it. I mean.
The way we do it, the way we communicate around here. But I want to get you in front of Nolan Ryan so that you guys understand how you consistently underestimate how much better these people are.
He's 77
years
old.
I know, you've mentioned that before. And you are not the athlete that you think hitting a curveball.
He barely could walk out to the mound yesterday.
Okay, and you are not the athlete that you think you are. I believe. Now, I may have this wrong, but I want to execute it. Instead of just talking about it, I want, and Nolan Ryan's not going to come here, I want to get you to wherever Nolan Ryan is and see if you really can hit what you think you can hit. Because, again, the power arm, Stugotz, to me, it's the best thing in the sport. It's the most unique thing in the sport. Name the guys, Stugotz, all time that have really been fallen in love with because they just throw harder than everybody else. It's not just Nolan Ryan. It's all of the closers throughout time that used to come in for an inning and throw 100 miles an hour and make us confused how Mariano Rivera could do it not throwing 100 miles an hour.
You know, Paul Skeens last night wasn't the rookie who was throwing the hardest in the All-Star game. Mason Miller, the closer for the A's, threw a pitch 103.6 miles per hour. It's insane. He's unhittable, and nobody knows who he is. I think Stugotz knew that he wasn't a Meadowlark employee, though.
I did. I got that one right.
Yeah, congratulations.
Stugotz, I've told the story before of, Mike Lowell, World Series MVP, saying what the difference between 92 and 96 is. 92 and 96, where it's like 92, okay, I'm okay, 96, whoa. Now make it 104.
Right. It's crazy. It's crazy. You're talking about what you're yearning for is the Goose Gossage, right? The guy who just comes in and gives you 92 right down the middle. I mean,
Jeremy, I'm not yearning for 92 down the middle. I'm yearning for.
Back then, that was it.
That was it. Go look up for me. Goose Gossage famously threw out his back sneezing because physically that's what he looked like.
Like Sammy Sosa.
He looked like somebody who should throw out their back sneezing because the act of a sneeze, not even his formidable back, could take all the power coming from inside his body and handle the sneeze. The back was going to break. Go and look up how hard he was throwing at his maximum because he was a flamethrower, and my guess is that he's 12 miles an hour slower throwing a fastball than Skeens.
I just remember how impressed I was when Matt Lindstrom threw like 94.
Right.
I was like, it's the best. Calling my friends on like, hey, you see this guy, Matt Lindstrom? Like 96 he hit last night.
And everyone hit him, too. Like, he had an ERA of 4 the entire time. Everyone could hit him. I thought Lindstrom got even higher into the 90s. But
he might have.
Do you think I have this wrong, though? On Billy, how do you feel about the power arm?
Goose Gossage on the Hall of Fame website says he had a 100-mile-per-hour fastball.
Wow.
But I feel like that was also at the times where it's like, what did that look like? As 100.
Right. Yeah.
Put that down.
This says he threw a 103-mile-an-hour fastball during the 1978 All-Star Game.
Impossible.
I don't see that happening.
He didn't do it.
Yeah. And who was it? Babe Ruth hit a ball like 6,000 feet? Okay, please, get out of here.
Maybe I've got it wrong, Stugotz. I did not think that Goose Gossage threw 103 miles an hour. But maybe I simply have it wrong because I thought that what it is that we're watching right now, that outside of Nolan Ryan and Orlando Hernandez, or what is it? No, it's not Orlando Hernandez. No, it's not El Duque. It's
K-Rod? Francisco?
No, I'm going to forget. It's going to be
Levan.
No, none of these people throw 100 miles an hour.
Not even close.
Who is the
Michael Tejera?
I'm sorry, Aroldis Chapman. I was just
there he is.
I was
Okay,
just
we got there.
Keep talking.
Just looking for a Cuban.
You guys were just throwing for Fernandez, Hernandez.
I had a Rodriguez in there.
Yeah. I'm getting self-conscious about this. Let me ask you this based on what it is that just happened in the last segment. How should I handle as a Latin show the way I say Copa America? Because I used to get annoyed on television all the time when the news people were doing English, and then to show me they knew Spanish, they would go, Los Sandinistas. And I mean, like, say it in English. Copa America. How am I supposed to say that without sounding like a gringo?
Just like you did right there, Copa America.
No, but people notice and say, why is he
Copa America. Yeah. You want to say it like that? That sounds so starchy, Dan. You're not a starchy guy.
No one cares. Just say Super Bowl. 50 days till the NFL. How about that, Dan?
Crazy.
You excited? 50 days until the NFL. Oh, my God.
I wanted to talk about baseball. You're going to do it the same way that my the person who had a gambling problem did it to me in the 30s by pulling me off of baseball to talk about football?
What is considered, we were having this discussion out in the bullpen area here. What is considered, how hard do you have to throw to be a crafty pitcher? Because I maintain you cannot be a crafty pitcher if you're throwing in the 90s. You have to be a guy who's mid-80s, 85, 86. Dude, you top out at 87.
Stugotz, there's one guy in the big leagues right now who throws in the 80s.
You can be, 91 can be crafty, Stugotz.
91?
I think you're topping out at the very hardest pitch you've ever thrown in your life is 93. You occasionally top out during a game at 92, right. You're living between 88 and 90 for the most part. If you're a crafty lefty.
You can only be a crafty lefty. You can't be a crafty righty.
Well,
crafty righty, you're
crafty righty or the minors.
When I think crafty, though, I think like Tom Glavine. That's who I think of.
Wasn't Greg Maddux crafty?
For years, you asked yourself, how do I save more money? But now it's, how do I preserve my money? Someone's asking the right questions. And at Sandy Spring Trust, we'll answer them one-on-one. From asset management to legacy and estate planning, you can feel confident in what's to come. What's your next financial destination? Visit sandysspringbank.com/wealth. Wealth and insurance products are not FDIC insured, not guaranteed, and may lose value. Wealth products offered by Sandy Spring Trust, a division of Sandy Spring Bank.